So what are you here for?
More schools first, more teachers.
Okay, I would like to reconvene the regular board meeting for Mount Dahlia Unified School District Board of Education for November 18th, 2019. And first, I apologize for our being late and coming back from closed session. And let's start with, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to do roll call, but I want to this time remember that we have our students with us this evening. And so this is Claire Snowden, right, from College Park High School. Thank you for being here. You can stay as long as you like, but don't feel bad about leaving. Get some work. So, Mr. Lawrence?
Here.
Ms. Mason? Here. Ms. Mayo? Here. Ms. Cowan?
Here.
And I'm Mr. Pete. So we are all here tonight. I am first going to report out our actions taken in closed session. So item 7.1, item number 1 is discipline, dismissal, release, or reassignment of public employee. Government Code Section 54957B. 3 cases. In all 3 cases, the board received information. 7.2 was anticipated litigation conference with legal counsel pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9B. In the first case, we received information and provided information. In the second case, we received information, and in the third case, we received information. 7.3, item number 3, negotiations. The board may discuss. I'm sorry?
The existing litigation that you announced before the closed session? You have to identify that on this agenda too.
You want me to read that again?
Yes, please. I've got one here to read it.
Specifically, I'm going back to the litigation conference with legal counsel, paragraph 1 of subdivision B, Government Code Section 54956.9, Mount Dahlia Unified School District versus Clayton Valley Charter High School et al., Contra Costa Superior Court, case number MSC 15-00574, and joint cases. So that's one that we received information and provided direction. Thank you. So now we are in negotiation 7.3. The board may discuss negotiations or provide direction to its representatives regarding represented employees pursuant to EERA Government Code Section 3549.1. Agency negotiators Dr. Robert Martinez, Lisa Murphy Oates, and Roy Combs. Agencies MDEA, DMA, MDSPA, CSEA, CST Local 1, and Teamsters Local 856. And the board received information and provided some direction. 7.4 is expulsion of student number 03-20 from all regular schools in the Mount Dahlia Unified School District.
Madam President, I move that student 03-20 be expelled from all schools in the Mount Diablo School District. Student may be eligible for readmission after June 3rd, 2020 if the following conditions are met. Number 1, participates in 20 hours of individual counseling to address anger management and substance abuse. 2, completes 30 hours of community service. 3, participate in California Offender Program Services, COPS, for aggressive offenders. 4, attend MDUSD Saturday workshop for anger management and decision making. 5, show evidence of a successful school experience with no suspendable infractions, maintain a 2.0 GPA, and have a 90% attendance rate. And 6, counseling services as determined by staff.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll move to the vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0. 7.5, item number 5, expulsion of student number 04-20 from all regular schools in Mount Airy Unified School District.
Madam President, I move that student 04-20 be expelled from all district schools. Student 0-20 is eligible for readmission on June 3rd, 2020. Student 04-20 must participate in 20 hours of individual counseling to address anger management, social skills, and decision-making, and additional counseling services as determined by Student Services Department. Complete 30 hours of community service. Participate in the California Offender Program Services, COPS, for aggressive offenders. Attend the Mount Diablo Unified School District Saturday workshop for anger management, and show evidence of a successful school experience with no suspendable infractions, maintain a 2.0 GPA, and have a 90% attendance rate prior to readmission.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll go to the vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0. Thank you. So I would like to make one change to our agenda, and that is to move up 11.0 to right now, before we have public comment for our student representatives, because they have to go home and do homework, right? Okay. Okay, so we'll start.
Good evening, President Durkee, board members, Superintendent Dr. Martinez, members of the Superintendent's Council, and members of the audience. My name is Claire Snowden, and I'm the ASB president at College Park High School. At College Park, our first season of the year is complete. This fall, all of our sports teams excelled and had great seasons. Our football team went 7-3 under new head coach Mark Spinelli, and our junior varsity team went 9-1. Our girls cross country team placed high in NCS and won Mount SAC for the first time in College Park history. The boys team will be competing in NCS this weekend in Hayward. Our girls volleyball team finished second in the league and made NCS this year, and the girls golf finished second in DAL. Our tennis team members Anna Dietrich and Gabby Thomas won this year's Doll Doubles Championships, and Sophie DeGroot placed second in the Singles Championship. All three girls made NCS, which makes this season the first time College Park has had girls in the singles and doubles finals in NCS. Girls water polo won the Doll Championship once again this year, and boys water polo placed second in Doll and was the NCS runner-up. This is also the first time in College Park history for boys water polo to be in the NCS finals. We are incredibly proud of all of our fall teams and are excited for the winter sports season to take off. Our outstanding drama program just wrapped up their first production of the year, A Delightful Quarantine. Our amazing choir recently sang the national anthem for the Golden State Warriors and had their dinner and a show fundraiser, Bella Notte. This Thursday, our talented band will be performing at the District Jazz Festival, and they had a fantastic showcase on October 26th. They are now preparing for the MDUSD Orchestra Fest and their various other events planned for the holiday season. We are pleased to report that 75% of our College Park students met or exceeded the state ELA standard on the 2019 CASP test. Our seniors are in the process of applying and beginning to be accepted into colleges, and all students are working hard to prepare for our upcoming finals in order to finish this semester. Our leadership class planned and executed our third annual Juniors versus Seniors Powder Puff game this past Thursday. Our players practiced hard learning plays and positions, and the senior cheerleaders worked hard to learn a complex routine to perform at halftime. The junior team won, and leadership was pleased to see the excitement and spirit at school with a friendly rivalry between the classes that made the event more fun. We also recently hosted a successful teacher appreciation breakfast that received great reviews from staff. After Thanksgiving break, we will be decorating all of our hallways to increase the holiday spirit at school. Some of the groups that plan to perform in our multicultural rally have begun practicing in preparation for our upcoming auditions in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, who's up next? Are you going to somebody else? You can lift it up if it's easier. Just take the mic out of his hand. Yeah, it's that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Good evening, President Durkee, board members, Superintendent Dr. Martinez, and members of the Superintendent's Council and members of the audience. My name is Liz Webster, and I'm a College Now representative, and I'm going to be talking to you about our juniors. And this is...
Hello, my name is Emma Kinsey, and I'll be talking about the seniors.
Okay, so right now, our juniors are doing well in their English class and learning about the struggles of equality for various marginalized groups by reading various fiction texts written by marginalized groups and reading also data sets from studies done on such said groups. And they're continuing this in their history class by specifically looking at different time periods for marginalized groups and movements for equality in order to better be prepared to make a memorial for their struggles of equality. And in AVID, they're continuing to learn about career and college, and they're being helped by us, their senior mentors, and we meet with them often to help them adjust to college life.
All right. So in our senior class, we are currently studying the juvenile justice system, and we're doing that through watching biopics, documentaries, and reading articles on cases. And this is all to work up towards an essay on reform and justice systems for the juveniles. And then in AVID, we're working on college applications and scholarship applications. We're doing a lot of focus on our personal statements and writing them to get into college and scholarships. And then in economics, we're working in groups on building business plans to meet one of 12 sustainable development goals, which are goals that are just striving towards a better Earth. So an example of that would be like we're doing one on global warming, and another one's doing that on education. So yeah.
I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit, and you don't need to do this, but it might be helpful for people who don't know what college now is. Do you have a brief elevator, little 2 seconds explaining what it is?
So the College Now program is a dual enrollment program where students who might not have done as well as they usually do or might not feel like they belong at their original home schools can take an opportunity to take college classes in order to just prepare themselves for college and also just try a new environment, because we're all about like finding what's your best way to learn. And so for some
And you're actually on the college campus,
yeah,
Idaho Valley College.
Yeah,
right?
so we're actually on the Idaho Valley campus in the humanities. So we take 3 core classes there. So we take our English, our AVID, and our history, or for seniors, economics and government, and then everything else we take through college classes through dual enrollment.
What we're all very proud of is when this program was being developed, there was some concern on the part of the faculty or people at Idaho Valley College that could they handle, or would high school students be able to conduct themselves appropriately? And we hear nothing but wonderful things. You're all taking great advantage of it. So thank you for doing that. So, thanks for the report.
Good evening, President Durkee, board members, Superintendent Dr. Martinez, members of the Superintendent's Council, and members of the audience. My name is Arthur Yan. I am the ASD president at Northgate High School.
And I am Ashley Burke, and I am ASB Sec Treasurer at Northgate.
So to start off, last week, the blood drive was a success. Over 50 plus people donated their blood. And this week is Gratitude Week, where we express our gratitude and thanks for each other by showing our spirit. And today's Spirit Day was we had to bring our favorite stuffed animal. And tomorrow will be Crazy Sock Day. Wednesday will be Wear Your Favorite Color Day. Thursday will be Twin Day. And last will be Flannel Friday. I'm looking forward to that one. Tomorrow we have our coffee talk, where our leadership kids have the opportunity to sit down with their favorite teacher, and they'll enjoy pastries and coffee donated by our class. Throughout this week as well, the leadership class is also preparing for the winter week, where we decorate our posters, our hallways with posters with themes such as New Year's, gingerbread houses, candy cane lane, and blizzard, which is right after our Thanksgiving break. Link Crew attended informational assembly reviewing the dangers of vaping and the variety of harmful effects that come with it.
The drama department held their fall production of The Crucible last weekend, and it was a success, and many people attended the live-action version of the book. And as winter sports tryouts are done and the seasons begin, a few fall sports are still going on. Boys and girls water polo made NCS. The girls made it to the semifinals, and the boys team won the NCS championship. Additionally, cross country is training for their big NCS meet this Saturday.
We wish best of luck to all the people in the winter sports and the people participating in NCS as well. Things are wrapping up with our classes, so we can all enjoy our much needed Thanksgiving break.
Thank you very much. You can pull it out of there if you want. You don't have to lean over. There you go.
Okay. So, good evening, President Durkee, members of the board, Superintendent Dr. Martinez, Superintendent Council, and members of the audience. My name is Robert Santamaria, and I'm the ASB president from Concord High School. So, recently at CHS, some of our programs out of school have participated in our yearly Scare Away Hunger this Halloween. In total, we got 12,754 pounds of food and raised $3,614. Our Ladies First recently started their gigs, doing 3 gigs for Veterans Day. They also have gigs coming up, and they recently had their annual casino night. Our band program has also been doing great. They hosted their first ever MUSD String Orchestra Festival. It was a big success. They were able to give out 5 music camp scholarships. This Thursday, they will be hosting the MUSD Jazz Festival. And on December 3rd, they'll be marching down Walnut Creek for a parade. Our fall sports have come to an end, and our winter sports are coming into season. Our boys varsity cross-country team finished second in the Dow Valley Division, with Diego Herta earning All-League Second Team and Logan Jacobs awarded All-League Honorable Mention. On National Signing Day, we had 3 of our talented athletes sign with colleges. Marina Della Luna signed with Ohio Trinity, Amber DeSea signed with Iowa Hawks for softball, and also Marina signed with softball, if I forgot to say that. And then Madeline May signed with Harvard for softball. Our varsity boys basketball team is starting off the year with a away game against Clayton Valley on Wednesday, November 20th, which starts at 7. Our JV boys basketball team is playing their first game on Friday, November 22nd against Hercules. This is a home game as well, or this is a home game. The varsity girls basketball's first game is a home game against Hercules. I'm sorry, I just messed up. So, the varsity girls basketball's first game is a home game against Pinole Valley at 7, and the JV's team's next game is against American Canyon on Tuesday, November 26th at 6. Our girls soccer team won their first game against Hayward with a score of 5-0, and their next game is against American Canyon on Wednesday, November 20th. The JV game starts at 4, and the varsity game starts at 6. And the boys team is still conditioning, but they are having their first game on December 4th against Pinole Valley, which is some time away. So now for the best part, leadership. So we are starting this week off with our Thankfulness Week, which our Positivity Festivities Committee is putting on. Today was Monday, Mention You Monday, when we can dedicate a song to a friend, and we played it in the quad during lunch. Tomorrow is Tuesday, is Nerd Day, where we dress up as a nerd and donate books, which will be donated to the Books for the Borrows. Wednesday will be Wacky Wednesday, where we will wear wacky socks and donate socks that will be donated to a program that will give them to homeless people in need. Finally, on Thursday, we have Turkey Day. This is where we wear red, yellow, green, or brown, and in the quad, we will have a poster where people can write what they're thankful for. Finally, our Fall Fest is this Friday, where clubs and our classes sell food to the student body to fundraise money. Our yearly dodgeball tournament has finally come to an end, and now the committee is focusing on Winter Brunch, an event where our leadership has brunch with the special ed program. So we'll do that during our class period. And our holiday project committee has contacted and set the dates with all of the elementary schools. They plan on going to Westwood on December 4th, Highland on December 5th, Monty Gardens on December 6th, Holbrook on December 11th, and Sun Terrace on December 13th. We will be having cookie decorating, ornament making, levees with Santa, face painting, meeting Santa, and pizza for the after-school program students. We recently realized we made profit from our homecoming dance, more money than later years. So we will be using this money to fund our future trips to build our leadership skills, such as Caddo Castle Conference, and giving money to committees such as Winter Wishes so they can grant more wishes. On that topic, Winter Wishes Committee is compiling a list of wishes to grant. Our juniors have a charity fundraiser this Wednesday, November 20th, so if you're interested, please come and support us. And along with this, our freshmen are planning a leadership outing to create a bond within the class. Our ASB Vice President and Treasurer have also been designing a winter collection. So this will include a scarf, socks that the student body can purchase. And finally, we also sent out our first round of emails to advisors for our 12th annual Leadership Exchange that will be on February 21st. Thank you, and go Minutemen.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
And I apologize, there was a lot, so great job. And
Thank you.
Traditionally, I believe Concord High has done for Halloween, the food drive. Did I miss?
Yeah, you gave the stats.
Sorry, I missed it. There was so much, and can we highlight it again, because it's always so.
Yeah, it was the first thing I said. So in total, we got 12,754 pounds of food and raised $3,614.
Fantastic, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Is that it? Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. You're welcome to stay and listen to the rest of the meeting. Better we understand it.
Thank you.
Okay, so now we will go to public comment. Public comment: the public may address the board regarding any item within the jurisdiction of the Board of Education of the Mount Airy Unified School District that is not on this agenda. These presentations are limited to 3 minutes each, or a total of 30 minutes for all speakers, or the 3-minute limit may be shortened. If there are multiple speakers on any one subject, the public comment period may be moved to the end of the meeting. Speakers are not allowed to yield their time. So, okay, so we're gonna, got a little few more, but we're gonna go with the 3 minutes. And, but just encourage you, if someone has said what you were gonna say exactly, just say ditto, or, just shorten it, but you can take the 3 minutes if you need to. We also like to share that folks who aren't familiar with this process, that our role during public comment is to listen. We're governed by what's called the Brown Act, so we are not allowed to respond specifically other than to maybe ask a clarifying question or refer you to the superintendent for follow-up. So again, our job is to listen, and we don't want people to be offended if we're not responding to questions that you might have or responding to anything, really. We're really here to listen. So with that, we'll start with Socorro Lomas.
Good evening. Good evening, Dr. Martinez, school board representatives, and members of the audience. My name is Socorro Lomas. I retired as Student Services Coordinator January 2016. On October 2016, Marsha Anderson called me back to return to work as a sub-counselor. She set my pay at $266 per day. Lisa Murphy-Oates sent me a letter, summer 2018, increasing the pay to $288. October 11th of this year, my pay was reduced to $145 per day without notification. After many attempts to reach Lisa Murphy-Oates, I was not able to procure an appointment. I did make an appointment, however, when she found out, she canceled it. I was disheartened, so then I contacted Dr. Martinez. His response to my email stated that the previous administration had worked out of bounds when they hired me. I responded that I should not be penalized for a human resource error. However, if this was considered an error, then both of the previous administration and the new administration, Ms. Lisa Murphy-Oates, had both made an error in my pay. I also informed him that my pay had been approved by the school board when the principal from Ignacio Valley High School had submitted the single plan for student achievement under Goal 1, Action 1-3. I requested for Dr. Martinez to inform me of the proper protocol so I could return to work. I had a lot of work to do. I was meeting with a lot of parents. I had SART meetings, 504s, SSTs that I was going to hold. The reason that I am here tonight is for 3 reasons. One is to inform you of the unfair practice that I believe Lisa Murphy Oates and Dr. Martinez have carried out in changing the terms of my agreement without any proper notification. Number 2, to inform you that many students at YB will not be appropriately served due to the lack of manpower. And 3, to inform you that the district owes me $2,580 for 18 days that I was paid incorrectly. Ms. Murphy Oates' actions are unprofessional and unethical, and Dr. Martinez stating that the previous administration did not follow appropriate procedures is not right. It should not be previous administration versus the new administration. It should be one administration. This current administration should honor what was decided previously. And if they want to make changes, they need to follow proper protocol. Not by treating people as non-essential, not by treating people as disposable, but by treating people with dignity and respect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Stacy Baschetti.
Good evening. My name is Stacy Boschetti. I am the attendance secretary at College Park High School. School began August 15th. It's now November 18th. I am here to speak to the issue of the lack of a nurse at College Park. College Park has 2,029 students. I am aware of 11 known peanut allergies, nut allergies, peanut and others, 4 known seizure issues, 6 known diabetic cases. 1 student just obtained the pump and has daily issues with it. I know about these due to Hillary Garcia, a district nurse coming to College Park in August to input it all and get that information to teachers. I have knowledge of 18 mental health issues, 15 reported concussions with concussion protocol up to today, 6 cases of severe migraine cases, multiple students with asthma, 12 other medical issues including bleeding issues, gastrointestinal issues including IBS, and an assortment of other ailments. We have 1 student with a blood vessel abnormality. All office staff, administrators, and his teachers have his information readily available to them as part of his medical plan. Part of his medical plan is to call for a life flight helicopter should he have a stroke. This is in addition to the day-to-day first aid issues of Band-Aids, ice packs, etc. Meds are not being properly recorded as the paperwork is not in place. This is not part of my job detail. Today a nurse had to be brought to the sports med class for a wrist injury that was not getting better with ice. This is not part of his job. Last month there was a fight in a classroom. 1 student struck another student, causing the student to fall and hit his head on the ground. During the follow-up investigation, he stated he felt fine. That evening, his mother took him to emergency. He was diagnosed with a concussion. There was not a nurse available to properly evaluate him for earlier treatment. I am inputting concussion notes and other medical notes into the medical log in Aries, providing copies to academic counselors and vice principals, who then let the teachers know if it involves classwork and attendance. I keep a binder of all this as backup. There is not a nurse available for the required hearing and vision checks for IEPs. Every one of these issues is a red flag to the district and to College Park. We need a nurse at least 2.5 days a week. My principal has asked for a nurse. I have communicated with a district nurse who has her own schools and has stated that perhaps we should get a subclerical to input the information about medicines. While we only have a small room for a nurse, it has served as a nurse's office for the entire time I have been at CP, 6+ years. We lack the space to put a nurse anywhere else. Please find a way to get a nurse to College Park. I am not comfortable working out of my job duties.
Thank you.
Patricia Hine.
Good evening. My name is Patricia Hine. I am the parent of a student at College Park High School. And as members of the school board, elected officials, I trust that you are good stewards of our taxpayer dollars. So I'm here to express concern about litigation costs. The litigation costs of continuing to not reinstate Mr. Scott, to continue on the path of litigation, which has a lot of risks. In any litigation, there's a plaintiff and a defendant, and one side always loses every time. Half the time, someone loses. The fact that we're spending tens of thousands of dollars on Mr. Scott sitting home and not working, while another teacher, who I understand is a math teacher, teaches his class, that's double salary for one job. The costs of an attorney who charges in the tens of thousands of dollars easily to handle litigation. That's money that's coming out of the students' classrooms. It's money that's maybe not being paid for, paying for a nurse. Maybe it's money that's not being used to negotiate contracts for hardworking employees in the Mount Diablo School District. But the cost to the students who are sitting in that classroom with a math teacher at the helm may be incalculable. So I don't know all the facts of Mr. Scott's case, but I do know some unfavorable facts. The administration changed a grade, and Mr. Scott objected to that. He reported it. There was a young student who didn't study, didn't do extra credit, didn't take advantage of opportunities to pass his class, and because of pressure from her parents, as I understand it, she was given a passing grade and permitted to graduate. He reported that. It gives rise to a question in my mind, is this a revenge claim? Is this some kind of retaliation? Then we also have the fact that Mr. Scott was terminated on the first day of school. Despite the fact that this is a progressive discipline system, it doesn't make sense to have someone terminated after a long summer break as opposed to a progressive system that leads to personnel action. And then the other unfavorable fact is that his personal property was trashed. It was thrown out. He wasn't really given an opportunity to take that home. And I only wonder what other teachers are thinking when they see this kind of behavior, the way someone's being treated. Is this affecting their morale? So we're approaching January. This is the halfway point in the year. It would be a wonderful opportunity to reinstate Mr. Scott, get him back in the classroom, give those kids at least a half a year of his passion and drive to teach them about biology. I've told you before that my son hated science for years, and now he's passionate about science and is excelling in physics. I wish I could speak to you further, but I really hope that you'll reinstate Mr. Scott and consider the outcry from the community and the fact that we're spending money on litigation, and it's really likely not to go well, especially with so many unfavorable facts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Rodemsky.
Good evening, Dr. Martinez and school board representatives. I am Linda Rodemsky, devoted kindergarten teacher at Delta View Elementary in Pittsburgh. Dr. Martinez, in each of your Friday letters, you've elaborated upon a sentence designed to share your vision of direction for our school district. You've written, responsibility plus relationships plus respect plus resolve plus relevance plus rigor for life plus resourcefulness equals resilience. And actually, this sentence closely parallels our current contract bargaining dilemma. Regarding responsibility, all of us at MDUSD, by accepting our jobs, have a responsibility to serve the families of our district. Our contractual requests are not at all extravagant, but they sure will propel us in the right direction toward responsibly serving our families. Relationships. The greatest success will only come if we work together. The staff is working together. It's imperative that MDUSD joins us with their support in negotiating a fair contract now. Respect. The inability to negotiate a fair contract for teachers, nurses, librarians, and others indicates a severe lack of respect by the district. Respect, like kindness and other life skills, has a trickle-down effect. It makes it hard to teach it if we don't receive it. Resolve, defined as to persevere toward your goal with no distractions. This is an easy one. It's exactly what we're doing. Our goal is a fair contract. We'll persevere until we get one. Relevance. You speak of how authentic, responsible relationships with students are relevant influences to student success. These relationships aren't exclusive to students. Have you considered the relationship between MDUSD management and staff? Rigor for life. Included in your definition where everyone is provided support in working towards achievable goals. Without a fair contract, we don't have your support and are therefore entirely missing this ingredient of your recipe. Finally, if resilience is defined as the capacity to recover quickly from difficulties, then having resilience as an ultimate goal means that you're fully aware of a problem. And that's a good thing, since the first step to solving a problem is admitting that there is one. If resilience is really your goal for our district, then realize the difficulties your staff faces as we strive to provide the highest quality education for our students. Please consider our perspective. Agree with the requests put forth by Medea, and please ratify our fair contract now. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Salvador Ramirez.
Good evening, School Board and Superintendent Martinez. My name is Salvador Ramirez, and I'm here representing the Rocky Shit Futuro Academy parent leaders. I'm here today because our group has been emailing invitations to each of you to come to meet with us at our school, but have not been able to schedule any visits. As parents, we care very much about the education of our kids, and we are passionate about our school. We would love to share it with you. We want to encourage you to please answer our invitation and come to learn about our school and community. I also brought some information to share with you today about our recent CAS result that we hope you will take a look. We're very proud of them. We look forward to sharing more with you when you come to visit us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Darcy, I think it's Darcy Matthews. You said it right. Yep, you said it. I couldn't read your handwriting. I'm sorry.
Hi, good evening again. I just wanted to bring to your attention something about a grade fixing scandal that happened at a high school. And it says the school scandal in Westchester County could cost an assistant principal her job. Investigators say the New Rochelle High School improperly changed more than 200 grades for dozens of students. According to investigators, at least 2 members of the class of 2018 graduated, even though they didn't have credits after, ironically, Assistant Principal Alvarez, this is in another state, changed the grades to passing online, instructions for students to make up classes they failed. Now you guys are going to end up in the news again, and I'm going to make sure of it. This is a great scandal that's happened, and I'm not really sure why. I mean, this would be a great question for your legal counsel when you're in your closed session. Why hasn't Principal Alvarez also been put on administrative leave? It's like you can't have it both ways. Something wrong happened, and you're going to get to the bottom of it, I'm sure. I'm sure, because that's the right thing to do. And what we're here is about the right thing. You've got teachers, you've got students, you've got parents here looking at you for your morals and your ethics. Mr. Scott has more morals and ethics than anyone I have ever met. And to let that principal remain at that school after what he said, done, thrown his stuff out, accused him out, I mean, this is like ridiculous. It's an embarrassment. I mean, I got Channel 4 News' card. He said, update me, and I haven't. I've been out of town, but I'm back, and I'm not going to let this go. You guys, Mr. Alvarez needs to be removed. I'm encouraging students and I'm encouraging parents to paint the sides of their cars, to hold signs, to picket, to do a walkout, to take the power back. This is not fair. This is not correct. This is not moral. This is wrong. Mr. Scott is a very good individual, and I don't know Alvarez, and I'm not presuming anything of him, but allegedly he changed grades, and that's not okay. It's not okay. You have teachers that are afraid of your principal. How does that speak? I'll tell you, I'm glad my kids are out of that school, because there would be a problem if my kids were there. I would be there every day protesting. I would be that crazy lady on the side of the road beating a drum for a teacher who has been treated unfairly, unethically. And your moral compass at this point, right now today, 2019, is out of whack. You guys better figure it out. No matter what happens, it's not fair to remove a teacher and not remove someone who has changed the grades. It's wrong.
Thank you.
Hi. I've never done this before, so forgive me for not being professional about it. My name is Melissa Pratchard. I am the secretary at Valhalla Elementary, and I absolutely love my job. Love it so much. I love the children, everything about it. I just want to bring a few things to your attention. A one-bedroom apartment in this area is about $1,750 a month. Childcare is $1,500 to $2,000 a month. I'm currently acting as a single mom, and my take-home pay is about $1,900 a month. That's nothing. I can't survive on that wage. I can look for a new job. I could work outside the school district and make $60,000 to $70,000. I have a bachelor's degree in business management, and I'm making take-home $1,900 a month. That's not even enough to pay for groceries and an apartment for myself and my child. I can't pay for childcare. I'm currently on government assistance because my wage isn't big enough. So I'm just asking that with these current negotiations that you guys please consider people like myself, who is a secretary who helps run the school. In fact, last week I was out sick with the stomach flu from taking care of the other children in my school that had the stomach flu. And I thank God for sick pay, because otherwise I don't know how I would pay for that. But, I mean, that's not even part of it. Being a nurse too is like adding to the amount of money, right? If you hired a nurse separately, just think of that increase in pay, and that's something I'm not getting. And because I was out and also my office manager was out, my office didn't function. So I know that our office staff is needed, and I know that we're worth more than what we are making. So I just ask you that you please really think about that in negotiations, because I am struggling as a single mom, and I don't want to lose my job. I don't want to leave my job because I love it and I love the kids. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you for this opportunity. District staff members have repeatedly expressed concern to the board about safety and academic issues. Year after year, nothing changes. I've asked myself why that is. I think it's because neither the district nor the board are pressured by parents. Lack of participation at these meetings is not due to a lack of caring. I believe it's due to a lack of time. People need to go to their second, possibly third job, or no one is available to care for their children. However, based on concerns that parents bring up, they are not happy about the lack of funding for our schools. The district has made significant cuts over the 20 years that I have lived here, yet we still don't have money. Most schools no longer have crossing guards. Many don't have enough noon supervisors. We no longer have art teachers. We've cut back on music teachers and librarians. Elementary schools used to have a secretary and attendance secretary, vice principal, office manager, principal, and counselor. but most are now down to a secretary who mostly handles attendance, an office manager, and a principal. Counselors at elementary schools are now part-time. There are no longer nurses in the office, which leaves the office staff to take care of injuries, including concussions and broken limbs. There are also fewer custodians, causing parents to complain about the lack of cleanliness. Many blame Prop 13 for the lack of school funding. While that is part of it, schools are poorly funded due to racism, classism, and sexism. If I had more than 3 minutes, I could explain that further. But since I am almost out of time, I will end up by encouraging parents to pressure the district and the board to improve their child's education. Nothing will improve without pressure. Part of doing the right thing for our kids is to pay employees a living wage. Thank you.
Thank you. You said Hermina? Can you repeat?
Jeremy Larson. Jeremy Larson.
Sorry. Hello, may I have my daughter pass these to you guys?
Sure.
Hello, my name is Jeremy Larson. I'm the father recently of my stepdaughter Amina and her mother Abigail Belafis. I'm passing out a little summary on her profile. She's known as what I would call a famous woman, world traveler, traveled to over 30 countries herself, and my daughter here has traveled to over 14 countries herself. She's not really been well educated in the public system because her primary language growing up with a single mother who's deaf is sign language. So first opportunity, she's been in America for 13 months now, and the first opportunity she's had to experience public education started this August 15th. You guys can look up in the audience on your phone. Her name's first on Google. It's Abigail Belafis, Abigail Beilfuss, and I have about 20 more copies right there, and you're welcome to grab those and hand them out if you want there. My point is me going through the courting system and persuading her mother to marry me, if you know what I mean, brought them here 13 months ago, and I married her mother in January. So since she's been in public education for only 3 months, and I've noticed it's several different problems, overcrowded classrooms, amongst distractions in the classrooms just because at her age of recently 13, at that age when you're going through all these things, social interaction is very important. So if somebody makes a noise or comment, of course everybody in the classroom looks. So these overcrowded classrooms is seriously affecting her education. One thing I promised her mother is that American education is very important when we come from India and these other countries. She agreed with me, came over, and trusted upon me to put her in our American public education system. The problem is the system's failing me. I had an opportunity this last Wednesday to go and shadow her as privately as possible to respect her social life in the back of the classroom. And I took extensive notes in each of her classrooms, paying specific attention to how much education she's getting, what kind of education, the quality of the teachers, the quality of her education, and I'm disappointed. There are teachers that excel in taking care of the problems the best they can. I'm here to just be very blunt with you and ask for 2 more teachers, please, for Riverview Elementary School. Principal Wood, I have a very close professional relationship. Please raise your hand here. And he's done an amazing job taking care of us. My wife and I are on what I call the PTA. I don't know what they officially call it, but I'm the treasurer and she's the VP. She can't be with us here today. I'd love for you guys to meet her because she worked 107 hours a week, plus 22 hours on public transportation. She is doing that because I'm a full-time paramedic student myself. So she appreciates me coming here and supporting that. So they don't have social security numbers yet, so it's a miracle how she got that much thing. And like the single mother that just commented about the wages living in the Bay Area, it makes it extremely tough on us. And Principal Wood really supports our family. He understands what we're going through. We're trying to support him back. So now it's my daughter's turn. She's on the agenda too. May I take 3 minutes of hers?
She can speak. She can't be. But she can talk. Yeah, she can talk.
Your daughter may speak. You can't speak on her behalf. Sure.
Yeah.
Say anything.
So in one of my classes, there's a crowded, and I just want to tell you to hire 2 more teachers to be uncrowded, because one of my crowded like classes are like crowded, and there's two. So I just want to tell you to hire 2 more students.
Thank you very much. Can I ask which class it is? Is it like a specific subject, or are you finding that all the classes?
It's math.
Thank you.
Brianna Peters?
Hi, good evening. Just one out. This is my second time, so I have no excuse for not being able to address everyone appropriately, but I'm happy to be back. I came here again just to revisit support for Mr. Doug Scott and his reinstatement. Last time I cried in front of the camera. I'm like, oh my God. I don't want to do that again. I'm going to try my best not to ramble, but I just wanted to I think the time spent for several people getting support, getting everyone together, we're all online. There's thousands of comments, thousands of signatures. I mean, there's a lot of support. We can't all be here. I actually showed up last Monday. But it was a holiday. I'm like, where is everybody? But like, I left my kids for bedtime. I feel like it's really important for all of us. And I mean, I'm trying my best to support all that I can, and just by being here. And the reason for that is because he is beyond, like, his passion for teaching is just unheard of. And I really think that you just need to readdress. I mean, he's literally sitting there, just being paid to sit there, and you're wasting his talent, like his time. All the students could be learning from him. I mean, my kids, they're currently at Hidden Valley Elementary. We're not going anywhere, even though it costs a fortune to live here. I have no idea I don't know how teachers do it in general, so I support everyone here that's here for the union and labor wages as well. I mean, I grew up from this area, so I don't expect to be leaving because of my family. And I want to have teachers like Doug Scott to be there for my kids. I want them to learn from people like him because he is motivating. He's one of the reasons I went to college. Like, he put time and effort outside of his classroom. I don't want to cry. But more than any teacher I had at College Park. I am very proud of College Park Falcon. Don't get me wrong, but he was like a life-changing teacher, and he's literally just sitting there waiting for some answer and just wasting all of our money that we all need in other areas. So gonna wrap it up because I'm rambling again. But I'm here for Mr. Scott, and I'll continue to be here as much as I can. So online, here, wherever. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tasha Barnes.
Okay, hello, esteemed board members and Dr. Martinez, Superintendent, and the Superintendent Council. My name is Tasha Barnes. I am the president of a new education organization, Outside the Box 925. We really want to bring kids out into the environment. We teach them about climate change and the issues going on that are very real to life for us. And we want them to be able to go out and enjoy the nature that we are working to learn to protect. And I just wanted to let you know about an event coming up on December 7th, right here in Concord. The Contra Costa County Flood Control and Water Conservation District is doing their 7th annual Giving Natives a Chance, and in honor of American Heritage Month. I just really hope that you can get the word out to Mount Diablo families. It's a volunteer event where they can go out and help plant and weed and take care of native plants and our environment. And also our Honorable Carlin Obringer will be there, so they can also meet our mayor and just really communicate about their interest in protecting the environment. So I wanted to make sure to get the word out to you and wonder if it's possible to get this out to our own families and encourage them to appreciate all that we're learning about and be a part of our natural environment.
Where would they go on December 7th to do this?
Oh, thank you. So it's through the Contra Costa County Flood Control and Water Conservation District on December 7th from 9 to 12 at the Clayton Valley Drain in Concord.
I assume there's information on our website somewhere or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I email it to someone? Or?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Devin Jackson.
Okay. Yes, I did.
Is this the mic door?
Hello, everybody. Good evening, esteemed members of the board, President Durkee and Dr. Martinez. I am here as a sixth grade science, STEAM, and STEM teacher and an environmental sustainability eco-literacy educator at Foothill Middle School. I would like to thank you all for supporting district science teachers, as myself, as we implement the 7 ocean literacy principles, i.e. there is only one ocean, the environmental principles and concepts, EP&Cs, i.e. there is no planet B, and the next generation science standards and Common Core state standards. In connection with the Marine Mammal Center, and the Ocean Ambassador Environmental Program, our students are going to the Marine Mammal Center at Foothill Middle School for field trips on Wednesday, November 20th, this coming Wednesday, and December 4th. As a middle school teacher, I would like to thank you all for supporting our students as we guide them to become scientifically and environmentally literate students. Our goal is to start a movement in our district to enlist our students, teachers, staff, administrators, and board members as leaders in caring for our natural watershed. With your support, we are being recognized as one of the first middle schools in MDUSD and Contra Costa County to become a NOAA Ocean Guardian and Ocean Ambassador school. Thank you very much.
Okay, that concludes our public comment period, and we are going to go on to 9.1, which is district organizations communications. At regular board meetings, a single spokesperson of each recognized district organization make a brief presentation following the consent agenda. Items are limited to those which are informational. And we'll start with Carmen Torres.
Good evening. Boy, it's really hot in here today. I have a headache already. If that was a sign for me to get out and have news, I'm not leaving. So, here I am again, another board meeting with the same issues. So it's going to sound like a repeated message. But I'm here today to say enough. Enough is enough. We had enough of the disrespect from this district, from the HR department, from the superintendent's office. The hiring process has been changed without any type of notification, any type of concern about how our district employees, not just my members, are being affected. When people are selected from outside, after even people that have been in the district performing jobs very similar are being passed by. What is the message that we're sending here to our district employees, faithful, that have been here for so many years? Disrespect. When the reclass process in my unit has not been completed, there's still one reclass. It's 4.5 months late. We still have no resolution to it. I met with HR, no response. I met with the superintendent, no response. Unsafe work environment. I have communicated that to HR, to Dr. Martinez. I sent a couple of emails to board members about how the student records is working with a portable in the back. I visited that in the summer, kind of September. It was inside, it was over 100 degrees with no light, no table for my member to work and pull those records. My member was promised a portable in working conditions with ventilation, light, work area. None of that has been provided. Up to now, we're still waiting. What is that? What do you call that? Disrespect. Not just to one unit member, but for the whole district. Okay, that's, we also have many, 2 letters that we have sent to the M&O director. We have many employees here in this building that are sick with cancer. We have requested whether or not they have done some kind of study. No response. What is that? What do you call that? Disrespect. When HR and the superintendent is hired from outside for positions in the DMA confidential area and hire them at a step 3, what happened to starting at step 1? We were not given the opportunity to start at a different level. We also brought a lot of knowledge, experience to this district, but we were not given that. If it has changed, let us know. Let's meet. I asked the superintendent, as long with the other bargaining unit leaders, to meet all together. He asked, why? What's the purpose? What's the purpose? For you to know that the issues that I'm bringing here again is not just in my unit, it's district-wide. You need to listen. I asked the board last time, are you deaf? Must I spell it out? Well, I'm spelling it out now. And again, I say enough is enough. This has to change because the actions, your actions, is really going to affect not just my members, but the whole district, the community, the students. Our job, you already heard. I have members working out of class, doing nurses' job. Believe me, if I have more time, I'll go over all the positions that I have in my unit that are working out of class, and the administrators don't have time to meet. I've been dealing with this over a year, and I'm still waiting. Members working as a senior typist clerk. Who in the world works now as a senior typist clerk? You just heard one of my members taking home $1,900. Of course, it's different when you take home $10,000. But no, we are the ones that do the little work for all of you. We make you look good. So please, enough is enough. Give us a fair contract. Give us fair wages. Thank you. That's a nice
Good evening, board members and Superintendent Martinez. I'm Lisa Davis, the business agent for Public Employees Union Local 1, the CST unit. I stand before you this evening to remind you that problems after problem after problem has existed. Matters stemming from the HR department. The HR department's specific management's response to issues has been truly inefficient. Superintendent Martinez is aware, as we've met with him face to face. We've brought individual issues to his attention. However, these outstanding issues are still going unresolved. Sadly, on another occasion for follow-up to those initial issues, a meeting took place with our key leadership. Our leaders were only provided a few minutes of superintendent's time, yet there has been no response. Not providing time to listen to those who care about this district and the issues are unacceptable. Again, we remind you of the problems. HR's new system for addressing issues and follow-up is badly broken. This is not just a problem, it's become a crisis. We have a member who's awaiting a response to how the district will move forward with her matter. This matter is, of course, the reclassification that was just mentioned. As we understood, this action was headed to the board for approval. However, for reasons unknown, this item has been pulled and no update has been provided to anyone, including the member. There are major problems with improper job postings. This is occurring. A new process has been implemented and improper placement has occurred. This has been brought to your attention for immediate looking into. For reasons unknown, this subject has been completely overlooked. The new system in which management has begun implementing has become a system of extremely unequal and divisive placement. Improper placement is occurring in critical positions. This is unacceptable, and it's not just a CST unit issue. It's a district-wide issue. Employees' morale is suffering. You have already lost employees of the HR department who has had many years of experience and knowledge. These employees have been a benefit to this district. However, members now feel angry and hopeless, believing that the district doesn't care about them or value them. This is not just a CST issue, this is a district-wide issue. Public service is suffering. Parents are complaining. The problem has grown worse because no one cares about how this district is being ran. We must have real solutions. The status quo is unacceptable. As always, the CST unit invite you to sit down with us and listen. We need a process and a management team that we can trust and rely on to do the right things. We wish to work together towards real solutions to these critical problems. Thank you.
Thank you.
Superintendent Martinez, board, audience. Well, I see we all have the same problems. I've never been to so many board meetings in my life. Jeez. Things are so out of control here. I guess I'm going to be at every one. I honestly don't know if it's any good. Tell me if I'm wasting my breath down here. But then, when I hear we're hiring a company that supplies all sub-jobs, who knows what that's going to cost. I'll be asking for a PRA on that. Then I hear we will have to raise sub-salaries. And then we're hiring friends at top jobs that other people might have been able to be hired here. And we're going to hire subs and get higher pay, yet not for our employees. Still, again, making up jobs that don't have job descriptions. Still doing out-of-position control. Your information on inclusion doesn't mean all over the district. It means at your site, going into other rooms. So we don't have any money for raises, but we have money for other things. You could up the hours and the pay. You could get people to work here. But with what's happening down here, the morale is going to be zero soon. So please stop telling us how much you appreciate your employees. Actions speak louder than words. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Anita Johnson. I'm president of Medea. In mediation today, I became convinced that you, our school board members, and our superintendent do not respect the educators of our district. The actions and responses of your bargaining team made it absolutely clear. I can't discuss specifics because of the secrecy rule, but I am absolutely convinced that you have not heard a single thing that a teacher has said or written to you. You have not heard a single thing that any of our nurses have explained to you. You have not heard the needs expressed by teachers at Title I schools. You have not heard the pleas of the dual immersion teachers. I have also become convinced that you are not interested in attracting and retaining qualified teachers. I understand that the district's financial situation is a concern, but that is no excuse for disrespect and neglect. There are some things you can do. There is funding you can find. There are non-financial items that could have a big impact on the education of the students in this district. But you do not seem to be trying. Your team does not seem to be trying. Your team was not prepared again today. At 9 a.m., we told them, we are ready when you are ready. They were not ready until noon to do anything.
Complete disrespect for our team and the time they took to do lesson plans and be out of the classroom. Complete disrespect. Are you directing your team to be purposefully disrespectful? Why are you allowing this? Why don't you respect your employees?
Okay, we're going to move on to public employee appointments. Go to 10.1, Dr. Martinez.
Okay, good evening, everybody. We have several appointments this evening. One is for vice principal position at Riverview Middle School and Mount Diablo High School. And this is for Afsana Olinga. And she's here today with one of her principals. Good to see her. And we are pleased to announce again her appointment for this position. She has attended many different countries, attended elementary school in Iran, British boarding school, graduated UC Berkeley with a bachelor's in Spanish, language, culture, and literature. She has worked for a number of companies as a bilingual business administrator as well. Worked for the United Nations, where she was based in Nairobi, Kenya. So brings again a world knowledge base to us. She has taught Spanish in her time in Oakland, has levels of international baccalaureate and advanced placement work. She was the coordinator of IB actually in the Oakland Unified School District, establishing their programs at Bret Harte Middle School and Skyline High School. Most recently has been an assistant principal at Hogan High School and Jesse Bethel High School, and now is coming to us with a wealth of skills, and we're just really thrilled to have Afsana join our team.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the appointment of Afsana Olinga as the vice principal at Riverview Middle School and Mount Diablo High School. Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll go to the vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0. Congratulations.
Good evening. I'm very happy and excited to start with Mount Diablo Valley, Mount Diablo Unified School District, especially with Riverview, Mr. Wood, and Mount Diablo High School with Mr. Barbosa. I'm very excited about it. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Can I just make point of order? Can somebody explain how somebody can be a vice principal at two schools like this? Is it precedent, or how's this person?
Let's do that right now.
No.
Do it offline. 10.2.
So we're moving on to an appointment for a program specialist in special education, Julian Urmson. Julian, he's here tonight. Julian grew up in Oakland, California, went to Bishop O'Dowd High School, a little bit of history there. He had done some work in Germany where he learned to speak German, and then came back to San Luis Obispo, where he obtained a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with a concentration in financial management. Actually worked in the financial industry for a while, but as we talked, really wanted to get to a place where he could make an impact. And so actually started working in public schools, became a substitute teacher, proceeded to get his special education credential, and has been working more recently at Concord High School, really leading and chairing the special education department there. So now being able to move into a different role in the level of program support and administration. We're thrilled to have, again, somebody of Julian's skill base, working with teachers. We had a great conversation about what he intends to do in broadening his continuing knowledge and working to support our special education programs. So Julian.
Madam President, I move that we approve the appointment of Julian Urmson as a program specialist for the Special Education Department.
Second.
Okay, we have first and a second. We'll go to the vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0. Congratulations. If you have people you want to introduce, you can do that as well. So if there's anybody
Okay.
that's with you we'd like to share.
I prepared a few remarks.
Sealed envelope, right?
Yes. Good evening, audience, Superintendent Martinez and members of the board. I stand before you this evening honored and humbled by the opportunity to serve as program specialist for the Mount Diablo Unified School District. I'm committed to doing my utmost to fulfill the promise this institution makes to educating students with disabilities every day. I will strive to fulfill the mandate of IDEA with professionalism and compassion. We are all here for the students, and I believe we must work together with civility and integrity on their behalf. I'm here for them and serve at your pleasure. Several people have made it possible for me to stand before you today. Time will not permit me to thank them all, however, I would like to acknowledge a few. First and foremost, while they are not with me now, because it's a school night, it's their bedtime, they go with me wherever I go. I would like to thank Bradley, Carmen, and Elizabeth, and my wife Ashley, who is currently getting them ready for bed, or probably hopefully in bed by now. So I want to thank them for being the rock of my life. I love them dearly. Secondly, I would like to thank Ryan Faltzgraff, who took a chance hiring me when I was still enrolled in a credential program at St. Mary's College all those years ago. She always furthered me and created a safe and welcoming environment for me to learn, take chances, and grow in. Thank you, Ryan. I would like to thank several other people, including Nancy Klinkner, Nadia Visaya, Trevor Chatterton, Ryan Sheehy, Ken Hickok, John Walker, the entire special education department at Concord High School, my SCA, Jennifer Van Brusselen, Pete Simek, and others for their support and impact on my practice and journey. Thank you all for your support and wisdom. Finally, I would like to thank the hiring committee and board for entrusting me with this opportunity. I can't wait to get started. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to keep moving here. We have a few more. Tonight we're really pleased to bring forward an applicant for our Associate General Counsel. This is Cesar Alvarado. Cesar. And Cesar is a long-term Concord resident, proud father of 3. He's really kind of grown up in the world differently than where he was born. He's from El Salvador, came to the United States as an immigrant, really starting out as an ESL student, went on to graduate from UC Berkeley and also attended the UCLA School of Law. Is an experienced attorney with 20 years of experience handling complex litigation representing public and private clients, including school districts. In his previous practice, he was advising and representing public schools, charter schools, all aspects of governance, statutory compliance. So he's really had this wide breadth of skills, and quite frankly, through the process of getting to know Cesar and the passion that he has for this work and really helping communities, I just think he's going to be absolutely wonderful in the legal side of things, but again, a welcome addition to our entire team to support us in the work that we do for our communities. So we're happy to have him come forward.
Madam President, I move that the board appoint a second golden bear of the evening, Cesar Alvarado, to the position of Associate General Counsel.
Second. We have a first and a second. We'll go to the vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0. Congratulations. Say a few words.
Thank you. Distinguished members of the board, Dr. Martinez, to the public, to students who are still with us, teachers, staff, I want to thank you all, and I stand before you truly humbled. I stand before you it is with an honor. It is an honor for me, privilege to have the opportunity to join the district as the Associate General Counsel. I want to thank the members of the hiring committee for giving me this opportunity. This is a great challenge, and I look forward to working with everyone in implementing the vision of the superintendent, of the board, in ultimately bringing best quality of education that we can for our kids. As Dr. Martinez indicated, I am a local Concord resident. This is my district. My kids are among the kids that we are entrusted to educate, and I look forward to working diligently and zealously defending the interests of our district, of our students, of our community members. Again, thank you so much for this opportunity. I would be remiss if I did not mention my wife as well, who is an educator and who has shared with me truly her passion and her commitment to work diligently, to work very hard to bring the best education to her students, to the students that are under her care, and I look forward to doing as well for everybody in the district as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next one, we have our Senior Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent Communications Specialist, and we have Austin Breidenthal. Austin, good to have him here. Again, what people may not know is that we have had an extended communications person working for the district who is not around the district. So really this transition is actually changing some of the structure and saving some dollars for the district to have somebody who's here working on behalf of the board, on behalf of the superintendent's office. Austin himself was born and raised in Vacaville, California. He's continuing his education at Solano Community College. He had worked in the Fairfield Sassoon Unified School District as a personnel specialist, a secretary to the English Language Learners Department, and more recently, again, his recommendations had come in just talking about Austin's spirit, his character, his integrity, embodied about what is good about individuals who are wanting to have public school excel. And so we know that Austin's going to be a great addition to our team, to promoting the district and helping us get to that excelling point.
Madam President, I move that the board approve the appointment of Austin Breidenthal as the Senior Administrative Assistant to the Superintendent's Communications Specialist.
Second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll go to the vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0.
Come on up for it.
It's your first communication task here.
Good evening, Superintendent, members of the board, council, faithful technology department, Emily, members of the public. Thank you for being here. And good evening. I wanted to say, and I'm motivated to say, that it's with humility and gratitude that I've accepted the position. Humility because I understand the gravity, the immensity, and the good nature of the task at hand. And gratitude because I know how far I've come to get here and the people that have been there to support me along the way. So specifically, if I'm not adding undue ceremony to this moment, specifically thanking Natalie, Ginger, and Jacob, best friends who I call family, none of which you might know, but still nonetheless for the record. And so, albeit a fleeting moment on the agenda, it's certainly a large transition in my life, pivotal moment for me. So I didn't want it to pass by without adding due significance, and to say thank you very much for the opportunity, and that I look forward, just like all of you do, to applying my skills to serve the families, the students, and the staff of Mount Diablo. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And And not to be outdone, we have one more, and I'm going to take the pressure off Christy. Christy is not going to be like the spokespeople and grab the microphone for a couple of minutes. I just know that. But she is here as the administrative assistant, confidential for the associate general counsel. And actually, her and Cesar, when they both came in to meet with me individually, met each other and kind of, I think, kicked it off and went, hey, oh, you're that person, you're this person. And so they've already started their collaboration. Christy joins the district with an abundance of legal experience. She has worked in both private law firms, corporate legal departments for over 20 years, paralegal certification from St. Mary's College, and has continued her overall education as raising her family and such. She currently works at a private firm in Vallejo, Favaro, Lavisa, Gill, Coretti, and Heppel, and again manages that work after doing some work in real estate as well. So we really are bringing Christy in here to help support our entire legal structure. We want to make sure that the team, again, is working together to support each other as they advance their skills, and we believe that Christy has got the absolute skills to make that happen for our district.
Madam Chair, I move to approve Christy O'Connor as the Administrative Assistant Confidential for the Associate General Counsel.
Second. Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll go to the vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0.
Just brief, introduce.
Yeah, I'm definitely more of a worker than a talker. I just want to say thank you very much, and I'm very, very fortunate to have this opportunity, and I can't wait to get to work with Cesar. Thank you.
Thank you.
He doesn't like the spotlight either.
I'll just wait. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Very exciting. Okay, we're going to move on to board member reports, and we'll start with Ms. Count.
Thank you. All right, let's see. A few things that I attended over the last couple of weeks. One was an event supporting the organization called COPE, CopeFamilySupport.org, which is an agency that works to prevent child abuse and strengthen family relationships through comprehensive support services that empower parents, encourage healthy relationships, and cultivate nurturing families. I was really excited to hear more about the details of the programs that they offer to so many of our families. Also attended the Equity Advisory Committee with Ms. Mason as well, and where they spoke about the importance of effective alternative solutions instead of suspensions, especially in TK through 3. I was excited to hear that the group had presented at the annual PBIS statewide conference about the work that's been done here in our district with our equity team, and really delving into the intersections of racism, internal bias, and school culture, and how those intersect with student expectations and behavior. Attended the Measure C Oversight Committee, where one of the things that was discussed there was the need to share out before and after photos and some of the wonderful successes that we've had to the public with our tax dollars at work. We've gotten a lot of work done just in the past summer alone. So that was great to see. Also last week, the Contra Costa County Board of Supervisors meeting, they were looking at an ordinance, it's 2019-34, to prohibit the sale of vaping and flavored tobacco in unincorporated areas. It was really great to see a number of the community, parents from Bay Point in particular, come to speak in support of that ordinance, and they did vote to move it forward. It is on the agenda for adoption tomorrow morning, so if people are interested in speaking out on that issue, I would encourage everyone to participate. Cities in our area have already passed similar measures, including Lafayette, so I would also encourage our cities, Concord, all of our cities to really look at that issue and support it and pass their own measures. Really enjoyed the board governance workshop with the whole team here and all of the work that we did there, and that's the gratitude that I'd like to express tonight is to each and every one of you for working so closely together on our goals for this year. I think we really got a lot done. And then the one upcoming thing that many of us have been working on is there's an organizing meeting that Contra Costa County School Boards Association has been organizing along with teachers, union leaders, superintendents throughout Contra Costa County to organize for a week of action in February to educate the public about the dire need for education funding. And that will be held at the County Office of Education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Ms. Count and I walk in the similar circles. So on November 5th, Mrs. Durkee and I attended the CAC meeting, and Dr. Martinez joined us there and enjoyed meeting and greeting all the folks at the CAC meeting. So I want to thank you for joining us at that particular meeting. On November 6th, I attended the Mount Diablo Council of PTAs Association meeting where we had a quorum, conducted our business, got a lot of discussion points handled, and some great sharing of ideas. It's one of the valuable resources for the council PTA meetings is that unit leaders from PTAs throughout the district can come together and brainstorm ideas, share the successes that they've had in particular areas. So it's a support network for our PTA presidents. On November 12th, I attended the College Park High School PTSA meeting where they conducted all of their business within about 20 minutes and then proceeded to have a mental health presentation. Dr. Aguili presented, a spokesperson from NAMI, and as you recall, we approved NAMI as a participant in our SARB hearing processes. And the speaker was actually a graduate from College Park High School. So it was a very moving presentation for those parents that were there. And then there was also a representative from John Muir Health to round out the comments about what services are available and what indicators to look for when students are having a mental health crisis, and also for adults as well. One thing that hasn't been mentioned, and Ms. Durkee and Ms. Count and I attended, as did Dr. Martinez and Mr. Schenke, attended the Contra Costa County Board of Education meeting where the county board approved the Mount Diablo trustee election areas as presented. So there were a few questions by the board members, but thanks to the amazing work of our staff and our consultant, everything sailed through very easily and with lots of comments from Mr. Rafferty, excuse me. So that concludes my report. Thank you.
Ms. Mason?
Since our last meeting, I attended the coffee with the principal at Mount Diablo High School, and there was, I'd say, over 20 parents there, and they're always very engaging and interesting, and the parents are very involved with their children's education, which is very important. I think almost all of us attended the Celebration of Success, which is one of our favorite activities, where we get to see how our kids have shined in special ed, and they're always so adorable. It's fun to watch them. I participated in the governance training, the equity meeting, and I guess what I'll highlight this week is I am, I was going to say I'm the head of the Friends of the Bay Point Library, but right now I am the friend of the Bay Point Library. And I'm sure I'm going to find more friends, but for now, we've been working to do different things with the school, and so on Thursday, we had Jennifer, I'll mess up her name, I'm sure, Choldenko, who writes the Al Capone series, which I will say when I first saw it up for adoption at a school board meeting before I was on the board, I was going to come and protest it because I thought it would be insulting to my Uncle Al, but then I read the book, and it's actually a very good book, and she's got a whole series. So she came to Bel Air and did a wonderful interactive presentation with, I'd say about 4 or 5 classrooms. The kids were very excited to meet her. They're very into her books. And so that was a fun thing. And as the friend of the Bay Point Library, we hope to have more activities like that for the youth out in the Bay Point community.
Mr. Lawrence?
I'll keep in mind, not touch on so many of the events other than Mrs. Mason and I had the chance to get together and we met with a member of the California Dairy Council, which was interesting and informative, and a Brown Act. A vigorous conversation ensued.
House speaks brother.
But something that it reminded me of is that, and I hadn't even shared this with Mrs. Mason, that we met at a Pete's Coffee, which is the same one where I had met with former board member Barbara Oakes one time, and it was during our labor negotiations, and the person who, the barista, I'm not much of a coffee drinker, but the barista was a former student of Mrs. Oakes, and had a conversation, and it came out that this person works 25 hours per week at Starbucks and received medical benefits. And as Barbara and I sat there and talked about the fact that our teachers at that time did not receive medical benefits, and just how shocking and appalling and what a negative impact that had on our district. And so that was a priority for us in that round of budget negotiations to make sure that we did ensure medical benefits. It was important to us to look at the fact that at the time, out of 18 school districts in Contra Costa County, we were 17th in compensation. We have aggressively spent to move into the top 5 within Contra Costa County. And it is, for me, as a child of a single mother, it's hard to hear one of our employees come here tonight and talk about the struggle, about needing government assistance. And I think that is something that, as a society, we have to reflect on and look at how we value education in this state and in this country. Currently, our expenditures as a district of the funds we have available, 87% go towards salary and benefits. So we are already spending a great deal towards that. We've seen over the last couple of years that the costs of covering the unfunded retirement benefits, as well as our contributions to the special ed, because we're not receiving the same level of federal support, those have outpaced the dollar of increase we've received from the state. And so even though we've received more funding, we actually have less to spend on our employees. And that's part of why we've had deficit spending these last few years. And so I think it's something that we continue to look at as a board is how can we maximize the dollars? How can we spend them best? But it's a finite pie at this time. And right now, the state of California does not fund education the way they should. And so that's one piece of it. The second piece is that I am concerned on the ongoing, persistent, consistent reports of challenges with our HR department. And something I've shared with Dr. Martinez. I know it is something he is looking at closely. There are only so many things we can do on a monetary side, but on the people side of it, that should, that doesn't cost money to treat people correctly. And it has been too consistent over the recent periods of time that we're hearing reports that that's not happening. So that is a concern for me. I'm looking to Dr. Martinez, part of why we hired him because of his background and his specialty in these areas, but it is something that we need to fix. So that is my report for tonight. Thank you.
So I think other people have already reported things I was at, so I won't go over those again, but I do want to highlight again the presentation at College Park PTA. I specifically went because I was interested in the whole topic of mental health, and this young woman that had been a student and is now a volunteer at NAMI is just blew me out of the water, and so impressed that she was there and willing to share her story. It's very, very powerful. So I've had children go through this district, so I've had my own experiences because they're much older now, so I'm just grateful that we have the level of services that we do today, because it's definitely needed. I want to take a moment to thank all the board members for their participation in our governance workshop. I agree that I think it was very productive. That was a first opportunity working closely. We are a team, we need to function as a team. I think we all agree that we're only effective as we are as a team. so it was first opportunity with Dr. Martinez, and so that was very valuable time. We had facilitators helping us go through, looking at strengths, etc., as well as goals. So we've made really great progress. You should have all received something from Sally Frazier today in your email as a summary of the meeting, the notes. And so I actually didn't get it. so I don't, yeah. I mean, eventually, about her third try, I finally got it. She had sent it Saturday. I didn't get it. Dr. Martinez got it, so he forwarded it to me. So if you didn't get it, say something, and we'll have her try again. And now on your behalf, I spent time over the weekend pulling a lot of materials together, so that will be coming out to you soon. Okay. And I just want to share, December 7th is the Arts and Crafts Fair at the Pleasant Hill Adult Center, the program at Pleasant Hill Education Center. It's really fun, and it's where students in all the various programs that are making arts and crafts sell them, and it helps you get in the spirit of the holidays if you're not already there. So I think it's like 9:30 to 3:30 on Saturday, so just want to share that. Okay.
I'll be on my way to Disneyland, so I'm sure I'll be in the spirit.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Wow. Okay.
Okay, so my turn to share just a little bit, and again, I'm not going to reiterate a lot of the different things that we're at, but I did want to hit on a couple of topics. One, just I think it's important to recognize that whenever we continue to have significant stress inducers throughout the state, such as the high school shooting that occurred at Saugus High School last week, it's really felt in ramifications across our classrooms, across our schools, and we'd be remiss if we just didn't recognize that again. Yes, it happened again, and we had the loss of 2 students in that situation, and so it brings to mind again, ever present, that we have to work towards not necessarily being fearful of never going out into our communities or having our students at school, but the importance of the preparation to act if things are not going as we plan. So again, we do practice drills of this type, dynamic actions, rather than having everybody go to one area if something like this were to occur, an active shooter on campus. We will be sharing and talking a little bit about our board policies for emergency preparedness tonight. And again, it's not lost upon me that PG&E has indicated to all of Northern California, potentially 264,000 people, that power may be going out again sometime this week. Now, from our process in working with the Council of Superintendents and the County Superintendent, and having a meeting last Thursday with PG&E representatives present and health services folks present, we're trying to again make sure that we have the best access to information possible so that we can be responsive and plan accordingly. From every indication that we have, just really as a half hour ago, our direct connect representative to the school district has indicated that we do not believe any of our schools are to be included in this next round of public safety power shutdowns. So we have to go with that information, and yet we have to work on our preparedness. So to that end, again, our communications, things that we would normally spend a lot of time maybe over here, we're spending a lot of time making sure our plans are not sitting on the shelves, that we're pulling them down, we're reviewing that, we're going through procedures. If in fact we have information within a 10-minute notice, what do we do? Which is very different from a day's notice. What do we do, and how do we communicate that to our folks out there? So I just thought it important to mention that we are continuing that process, working with PG&E, working with the Office of Emergency Services, working with our Health Services Department in feeding students. Because again, the logistics of getting food to 1 school, 3 schools, 8 schools if need be in one day is very different over the course of now 2 days. It becomes an almost unmanageable task. The food isn't there, the preparation isn't there, so trying to be flexible and nimble at the same time with having strategies and process in place. Our schools continue to teach and learn. Charcock art over at Valhalla with Mark Wagner. Oak Grove students packaging things for the homeless. Ignacio Valley Art auction happened last week. I think we've got water polo happening tomorrow and playoffs, for Northgate. So good things are continuing to happen as well. And even with the preparedness that we have to go through, I think all of us do well when we continue to speak about those very positive things that are out there. With that, just setting a little bit of a goal. We have all of our formal goals that we'll be working on, but I know that there's still some schools I've not gotten to. So actually, Emily and I were looking at the calendar, and we've set 6 days before the winter recess to get out to schools. So if there's something special that somebody says, oh, we're doing this, or we're not doing this, or even if it's not special, but it's just regular great teaching occurring, we want to get out there and see that. So that's one of the commitments that I want to do, so that we can ensure that by winter recess, I've been able to see all of our campuses and connect with our administrators at the sites. Just something that we're doing. In addition to hiring our CBO, in addition to hiring our benefits administrative technician, our workers' comp technician, and a director of risk management, we hope. So we're going to be busy through December. Just keep it on going. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Okay, we'll move on to recognitions and resolutions. And we have 14.1, review and potential approval of resolution 19/20-28 declaring November 2019 as Homeless Youth Awareness Month.
Madam President, I move that the board approve item 14.1, the resolution for declaring November 2019 as Homeless Youth Awareness Month.
Second that.
Okay, we have a first and a second, and we'll go to the vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0.
Madam President, I'd just like to thank and recognize Ms. Sandra Wahali, who's in our audience today with the HOPE program, our homeless and foster youth program, and all of the great work that you and your team does. Thank you.
Madam President, before we move on to the next item, could we actually ask to hear briefly about that program? It's traditionally something we've seen, and I know that there's usually at the November meeting, there's mention of fundraising and how that, could we briefly?
Good evening, Board President, Board, Dr. Martinez. So we are doing our annual fundraising for our homeless students, and at the end of last year we had 743 identified homeless students in Mount Diablo Unified School District. We start counting from 0 every year and re-identifying to make sure that our numbers are accurate. At about this time last year, we had approximately 300 students identified, and currently we have over 500 identified. So we have consistently, over the last 13 years, our homeless numbers have gone up. We have lots of students in need, and our Christmas fundraising is really about saying, we know you're here, we care about you, we want you to have a gift card and be able to buy something for yourself. That doesn't have anything to do with necessarily the basic necessities, but something that they can actually enjoy. And our program uses whatever, after every student gets a card, whatever is left is spent on things like the senior experience, getting homeless students who just want to have their be able to go to the senior events and things like that, prom and all of that. And we give we have Safeway cards and things like that for our students in need throughout the year. So thank you so much for supporting us. I'm so proud to work for a district that supports a little subdivision like mine and takes care of our students who are in the most need. So thank you.
How would people be able to donate? What are the mechanisms for giving?
So you can donate gift cards themselves in $25 or $50 increments. And you can give those through Student Services. The Welcome Center will accept them. And we also have a Venmo account, MDUSD Hope. And some people just write checks. They prefer to do it that way, and then we purchase the gift cards.
Great, thank you.
Thank you
very much. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to the consent agenda, and I understand we're removing 15.18. Is that the right number?
Correct. Yes, I will move
How
that.
short-term my memory works from 3 hours ago. Okay, so that one is removed. Items listed under consent agenda are considered routine and will be approved, adopted by a single motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items. However, any item may be removed from the consent agenda upon the request of any member of the board and acted upon separately. So I would ask if any board members have items they would like to pull.
I'd like to pull 1510.
Any others? Okay, can we get a motion to approve?
I would move to approve the consent agenda with the removal of 15.1, or 10.
Second.
Do we need to remove 15.18?
I did 18.
We took it off.
Okay.
So staff took it.
Well, did I say that?
No, I was being tested.
Double checking. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Now, go ahead and vote.
Yeah. Did we have a second?
Yeah.
Second.
Okay.
Okay, and that passes 5-0-0-0. So now we are looking at 17.1. Okay.
So I just had a quick question about the very first position listed, Mount Diablo High Dean of Students.
So again, I believe I asked the same question. It is a reduction to a position that's been on the books for a while that is not filled at this point, nor do we have any indication to fill it. So we're just basically cleaning up a vacant position that's been there.
Thank you.
Okay. If you want to make a motion.
Okay, I move to approve item 17.1.
Second.
Okay, we have first and a second. I'll go ahead and vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0. Thank you. Okay, we are now to 16.0 reports. I was just going to come up there. Reports and information. Presentation of Mount Avenue Unified School District enrollment data for 2019-2020 school year.
Yeah, so we're going to pull up a little bit of a PowerPoint here. What we're doing is that I've asked our Assistant Superintendent, Michael Jimenez, and Assistant Superintendent Jose Espinoza to really can look at some of the overall enrollment to get an initial picture of this. We know that historically there have been a number of detailed reports that have been produced and documented, and through sometimes the iteration of changes, we lose that aspect. So this is not meant to give you the detail of every single school site and every single classroom, but to give you an overview of where we are with enrollment and a little bit of a history. I don't want to take your thunder, Michael, so I'm going to let you go ahead and jump in. But and then we'll have some conversation at the end about some things that we're doing.
Can I just ask before you start if the presentation is available for the public?
Yeah, I can make it available.
Or it would be afterwards?
We'll make sure.
Can we, yeah, I don't see it attached, and just as a general practice.
It's just being worked on.
Okay, thank you.
Up until today.
So the first slide is the total enrollment from 2016-17 to
present year, 2019, 2020. And all this information was pulled off of our CalPADS information. So the total enrollment for elementary, middle, and high school are before you. And at the bottom is the district total for each year. So at the bottom, you'll see 2016, 2017, at the very bottom, 31,579 for 2016, 2017, and then for 2019, 2020, we're at 30,740 kids. So that's a decrease of about 839 kids since 2016, 2017. This is more of a visual representation of the first slide. The bright pink colored from the left is 2016, 2017, and moving to the more lavender colored bar represents, on the right represents 2019, 2020. During this period of time, elementary had decreased by about 573 students. I know it doesn't really, it's hard to tell on the graph, but it is 573 students. Middle school by about 229 students. High school by about 51, and alternative ed increased by about 14 students.
What point in the year are these taken?
I don't know what.
Yeah, it would be October.
Yeah.
What's the CBEDS date? October 8th.
October CBEDS.
So the movement of students is kind of settled down about that point. So but there's always movement. So of course. The next three slides show the change of enrollment from 2016, 2017 to present for elementary schools only. The numbers in blue indicate an increase in enrollment from 2016 to the present. So Hidden Valley on this slide increased by 5 students. Holbrook Language Academy increased by 340 students. I think that's because I'm not sure. Did we have a Holbrook in 2016, 2017?
Yeah.
No, we didn't have one. I've only been here since 2017, 2018, so that's new to me too. Sequoia increased by about 45 students. Silverwood increased by about 19 students. And then finally, at the very bottom, you'll see that we did decrease from 2016 to 2017, 15,568 kids to 14,995 kids, which is about 573 students. For middle school, from 2016 to 2017, 2016 to 2017 to present, again in blue the numbers indicate an increase in enrollment. So since 2016 2017, Oak Grove Middle School increased by 102 students. Riverview increased by 47 students. Sequoia increased by 5 students. But overall, again, there was a decrease district-wide by 229 students for middle school level only. High school, Mount Diablo had the most significant increase of 208 students since 2016-2017, which I thought was really a plus for that school. YB increased by about 40 students as well, but again, district-wide, there was a decrease of 51 kids. And then finally, Alt Ed. So Gateway is now combined with Horizon. So you see the 0 at the end there at 2019-2020 for Gateway. That's because it no longer exists. It's been combined with Horizons. But you'll see an increase in Horizons from 2016-2017 of about 33 students. Even from 2018-2019, you see, what is that, about 26 kids right there? Is that right? 36 kids? So that's the Gateway kids coming over to Horizons. Mount Diablo Unified increased about 103 students. And then finally Prospect by about 4 students.
What is that? What is Mount Diablo?
I don't know. That one's new to me too. So, but I know it's on our books. So for CalPAD, I would have to defer to one of the people who've been here longer than I have on that.
Looking out in the crowd.
Happy Diablo Day.
Mount Diablo Unified.
There might be college now. I'm not sure. Those are the special
Be at college now.
Yeah, special ed.
Those are the special ed kids
Oh, Bridge.
for Bridge.
Do we know why it went up 100 from 18-19 to this year?
Because the county was operating the program, but now we do the program completely, isn't it?
You have more data, Mika?
Yes. So those are the kids who were in special ed, and until this year we were not including those special ed kids who goes to like private school but get service from us just for the speech, and those were not included in the CalPATS prior to 1920. So 1920 number went up because of those special ed kids.
So we didn't actually have a
Right,
big
it
jump
was not
that happened.
required to include it. And right after 1819 October CBET, that came requirement.
But they're not full-time students served by us, they're just receives certain services.
Correct.
Just a further bit, so this doesn't reflect an increase in ADA for those students then?
Okay, so, it's been a decrease of about 839 students, as I said before. It doesn't seem significant, but it actually is pretty significant when it comes to funding. I think it's, what is the average, like 7,000 a year for a student? So it does add up. I think it's around 5 million a year, so that we don't have, yeah. We don't anticipate a great change in enrollment for next year as well. Currently, what we have going on is we're starting to clean up. Actually, we've been cleaning up our areas data. In the first 3 weeks, what happens is we usually have the principals start looking at the kids that have not shown up for 3 weeks, and then we start to figure, we call them and determine whether they're going to come or not. Then we drop them as unknown students, and that kind of cleans up our data a little bit. And that continues throughout the year as we go, because we want to give the best data that we can possibly give to fiscal, because fiscal uses that to start uses a baseline for determining what our enrollment might be. We will maybe close some programs if there's not a significant amount of kids in there. Doesn't mean they're going to go away. We'll offer them again the next year if the kids want them, because the kids drive everything in a master schedule. So if the kids want a certain program and we can afford to open it, we'll open it. But that again, it's determined by the students. And we're constantly monitoring the kids from now to about March, because what we're doing is we're trying to find out what classes they want to take, what courses they want to take, and that determines what FTE we have to hire. Is it a science teacher, a Spanish teacher, is it a music teacher? So that all drives what we do when we start building our schedules and determining what the needs are for kids in our schools. Like I said before, this is kind of like data that fiscal uses to kind of determine what our possible projections are. There's a whole nother, I'm not a demographer, there's a whole nother system to that. I don't do that, but it's there's percentages that are taken in there that I don't even understand that Mika is trying to explain to me. So, but that's just kind of like what we do to try to get the information to Mika so she can start working on that stuff.
So part of what our process has been is, again, to try and get a handle on our data. What is the data that we know for the number of students that we're predicting for next year already? How does that impact our staffing and the structure working with our fiscal department? So we needed to make sure that we're starting with the same number, and that's why we base this data off of CBEDS. From the CBEDS data, again, the average daily attendance is a fluctuating number. If we have students that are truant, not coming to school, or absent, of course, that also impacts our funding. So what we want to make sure and do is, through the process of getting this initial data, that we outline a plan to make sure that we are, whether we're deciding if we're going to work with a demographer, to do the in-depth analysis of where our home starts, where people may be leaving, so that we have clarity in our numbers as we go into next year earlier. Then again, we're looking at working with the schools in their master schedule development. It isn't necessarily all about if kids just want something new that we don't have, but we have to work within our parameters, providing support to our principals so that as they're building their master schedules, with the information we are giving them for staffing, we anticipate being in a better position when we start next year, because we'll be able to hire more targeted. And again, we do not want to go through an anticipated broad layoff. We had heard some concerns about what that entailed last year when we then brought some people back and created conflict for us. So it's absolutely important that the enrollment data that we're looking at be accurate, our ARIES data match up with that, and we're using those same data to plan for next year. So again, we really just wanted to give an overview so you can see that and start talking about the procedures that we'll be implementing as we get into working these numbers to plan for next year. But we also are going to be looking at, again, second semester to determine if there are some specific areas. If we need teachers now, then we should be hiring teachers now. So we don't want to wait if we actually have that presenting need at a couple of the schools. So now the detail work occurs again from this data and our actual classes, our enrollments and the staffing data from ARIES that we look at. And that's the next level of deep work on this data. But I just wanted to give you more context.
Man, is it detailed. Any questions?
Well, more of a comment. So one, I greatly appreciate that context, and I think this is an absolutely necessary step, so fully appreciate that. The things I would be interested in, we highlighted the schools where there's an increase in enrollment. Frankly, I'd be more interested, since we only had a glance at the schools that had a decrease in enrollment, and to what factors we think. And I recognize the possibility of demographer, but even prior to that, you know, what are our best guesses? How do we start to address those? You know, CSBA has pointed out that throughout California there's been a decrease in student enrollment. That's one piece of it. Two is that you know, we have had an increase in charter schools within our district, and so what is the impact of that? Specifically, like, what is the impact in the Monument Corridor and some of those things? But we only had a glance and we highlighted the ones that went up. But I do think, and you know, doing super quick math of roughly $8,000 in funding for I thought I was being conservative, and if I know the number was over 800, but that's $6.5 million right there. And so I think that is one of the things we have to continue to look at structurally. But the bigger question is, how do we start to attract more students and bring people back and make sure that you know, we have one program that went from 0 to a nice amount with the Holbrook Language Academy, but what are other ways that we can attract students? And so I'm looking forward to that next step in the conversation.
Can I just add something to that, because it speaks right to that? So if you look at some of the schools at the elementary level that have decreased, Wren is one of them, Centerras is the other one. Wren actually decreased about 100 students from one year to the next. Where are we? 523 to 404, we're down to 362. And that's one of the things that we kind of started to look at. And obviously, a lot of those students are going over to Rocket Ship. We were losing a lot of them to Monty Gardens as well, because they were pulling students from there. Centerras as well, they have decreased. And so one of the things that we looked at were a performing arts program at Wren and the STEM program at Centerras. And if you look at Wren, this is something that we were absolutely proud of. From 2018 to 2019 was kind of where we put a lid on the flow out. And that was very positive, because that was a school. I mean, we were at 523 down to 362. Right, but then we jumped back up from 2018 to 2019, and that was, I believe, specifically to the work that we were doing around the performing arts.
Yeah, I think it would be great if there was some way to do a polling of parents. You know, what attracted you to this school? You know, why did you choose this school to enroll in? And likewise, why did you leave? Right? If we find out that, you know, someone has chosen to leave one of our schools to go to a charter school, what was the reasoning there? Well,
I think go ahead.
I just have a question about, do we actually have a list per site, classroom by classroom? Because I often go out to sites And I walk into a classroom and ask if half the class is out somewhere, and they're like, no, this is the whole class. So I hear all the time how we're overcrowded, and then I walk into a classroom that has like not even 24 kids in it. So it's very confusing to me.
Yes, and we can provide that.
Yeah, I'm just going to add to what I was going to say. So I think, what I was looking for, this is wonderful, because it really is big picture and long-term planning. But, we had talked about just that, because of, trying to get facts and reality as opposed to what we hear would be really helpful. And I know it was still a moving target. I know it's still somewhat of a moving target, but, when you feel like it's, by now, I think it should be fairly settled to be able to see that. I think across the board would be really helpful.
Yeah, we maintain, and I actually, for the elementary, maintain a list of classroom per classroom weekly, and it is always a moving target.
Yeah.
But at about this time, you have a pretty good sense. We've actually seen some of our elementaries, because we're looking at the class average as well, and we've seen some of them go up a little bit. And part of the reason is because we are so tight that 1-2 students make a big difference, right, in terms of that 24-to-1 ratio.
Right.
So for the situation at Wren, isn't part of the factor in its, that drop between 523 and 404 the year that Holbrook opened?
That's part of it.
Right, because it divided an attendance area, so the students were selecting to go to Holbrook.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say thank you for all this work, and I love seeing that we're making decisions based on data.
Sure. Yeah, and just to your point, we haven't done any specific surveying of parents, but often at parent meetings, at the PACs, at all our community meetings, we do have those conversations, and so we do have some ideas as to why they're choosing certain schools.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, we are now at business action items. 19.1, review and potential approval of the new membership application for Community Advisory Committee. And let's make a motion or questions?
I would make a motion to approve the new membership application for the Community Advisory Committee, appointing Ken Madeira as a member of the Community Advisory Committee.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. We'll go to the vote. And that passes 5-0-0-0. Thank you. Congratulations, Ken. Wherever you want.
Thank you, Ken.
19.2 is review board policy number 3516, administrative regulations number 3516, emergency and disaster preparedness plan.
Yes, so we put this on the agenda tonight really as an information item. Again, we know that our board members have been concerned to make sure that we are updating our plans at school sites, working with our plans as a district, engaging our community in the process of review, and working towards getting communication out there. Again, so we just wanted to bring it here for review of the current board policy, and again the current recommendation policy from California School Boards Association, to provide an opportunity for, of course, our board members to comment on. What we anticipate is, again, a number of pieces coming into play here with the architectural review that's been out there occurring, our specific responses to current actions, power shutdowns, fires that still persist in some areas in California, and again, emergency response, and coordinating a lot of our work with our agencies, because we do not work in isolation. So really just as an information item, and to see if there were, again, discussion points or items that the board would like us to hear.
So I have a couple questions, which could be addressed at a future meeting, but we had, our, at the time, very new superintendent walk into two difficult situations, one at Oak Grove Middle School and the other at Northgate during the blackouts. And I guess my question is, do we feel like improved board policy would have helped in those instances, or was it, I guess I'm interested in the learnings from those, was it a breakdown in gaps in the board policies, or rather just the procedures in place in terms of bubbling up the information more quickly? Because it seemed like, and to your point, Dr. Martinez, we were relying on outside contractors to help provide water and bathroom facilities at Oak Grove, and at Northgate we were certainly reliant on PG&E, but there seemed to be kind of compounding issues that made the situation more and more difficult. So I'm just trying to understand, was that something that was really, that there wasn't the policy there, or rather was it just in the implementation, in which case we've learned from it? So that's one that I would have. And then the second one is, I would like to see us have a conversation, and I'd be interested in the data because I've heard different things about the efficacy of active shooter drills, specifically at elementary, and just, is there a benefit to having the students go through that? I certainly am in favor of the staff being well prepared, but the negative consequences I worry most about our elementary students and the trade-offs of how effective has that shown to be, and what is frankly the trauma and fear that we instill, and it's something that I think as a parent or any concerned citizen is aware of, but just that trade-off. So those are the two items I'd be interested in at the next time we follow up on this.
I would just agree with what you said there, and also just thinking about the water situation and the one single company that it appears we were relying on. I'm sure there's been conversations with that company since the Oak Grove incident, but are we looking at having more than one company to be able to have on hand quickly and already be in our system for situations like that? And then as far as the policies, looking at the CSBA samples, I realize that they're set up a little bit differently. Some of the things that are in the sample AR are in RBP. So, I'll leave that to you to decide which thing goes where. But a few of the areas that I thought were particularly useful were, let's see, within the CSBA, let's see, starting with the AR, they did list more specific situations than we currently have, things like biological, radiological, chemical activities. So we can just sort of expand our list of things that we're preparing for. They have a specific mention, 3A, of the appropriate chain of command of the district. And if communication between the district and the site is not possible, what the chain of command is at each site. And I think some of these things are, like to Trustee Lawrence's point, are already in our site plans. So in terms of our board policy, it does feel like it's just kind of cleaning this up, just updating it, because it to say some of the things that we actually do already have in place. It does talk about including a procedure to release students when reference to the emergency card is not feasible, and references to the ongoing communication as well. So I would just say I think there are a number of things in the CSBA samples that we could easily incorporate in that fit in with some of the processes that we already have in place.
what I was trying to figure out is if we just took the CSBA one, because often that's the case, you just take that, but I felt like, and I honestly didn't get enough time to spend with it, but that there might have been a couple of things that we have that sound good that wouldn't be included, so we need to do that kind of cross-referencing sort of thing. I think, the bigger issue is the plans that, because, we do have plans. And I think there's a plan for district office too, right? That was also developed. I mean, we went through, it was a long time ago, and we went through all this, that, like the incident commander, and, who is this and who's that, so I assume all those are still in those plans, and maybe there must be one for this site as well, so maybe it's just making sure that people, they have to go through a process, right, every year, right?
I mean, one of the realities when we looked is that a lot of people have left.
Right.
There's some truth there that there are different people and different phone numbers and different emails, and so the communication really needs to be regularly monitored and checked and updated and flexible and nimble, so people really have the right information. Again, this is one of those situations where having some live documents within a Google Drive where people can access, go in and change it if somebody's not here but the new person is, so that everybody has access to that piece of information.
Wait, you're suggesting moving away from a paper-based system to
Oh, but hold on.
Brian.
When the power was down at Northgate, you needed some printed rosters to take attendance, right? So a printer backup is a good idea, although I love Google Docs. I think one of the other things is just the communication of the plans, because having been a parent on a site council and going through that plan, it's 100, and Los Angeles Northgate's is 159 pages. I think they're all about that long. And the site councils do spend a lot of time going through it and actually deciding who that year is going to be the chain of command, and putting their cell phone numbers in there and all of that. But sometimes the larger community doesn't have the Cliff Notes version of the plan. How are we going to be communicated with this year when these key situations
Well, and I think
happen?
that these two examples you talked about kind of highlight some nuances. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask this question and maybe embarrass myself, but is there a precedent for a school running even for a day or 2 days with porta potties completely? I mean, is that a
Yes.
common practice?
Well, when Northgate was going through the asbestos removal work, there were the large trailer porta potties that were brought out there, and they were there for I don't know whether it was months, but I know it was more than a month.
So maybe those are better than what I'm envisioning. I just
listen, we all go camping.
Well, yeah, but I'm just picturing I don't know. Anyway, I don't know where you draw the line, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And then I think Northgate's very unique in its setup, so when the power's out, it's a different thing at that school. So that school might need a different kind of rule or something.
And I think the point's well taken that, again, the logistics of our particular sites in a particular situation, we can have plans, and then when something like that happens where we need to be responsive to the real design of what's going on, we probably, again, and we've said it, we needed to make a different decision than that school sustaining being open. So to that end, one of the things that we, again, are looking to do is every school doing this analysis. And in fact, a piece of information will be coming out from Principal McAllister to the parents at Northgate regarding very specific things that we're doing differently and already planning to do. Should we have, again, an emergency that is unexpected and happens within the first 90 minutes, things would be very different. As opposed to also now, if we hear that power is going to be out the 12 hours before, people are getting phone calls and people are getting texts because we're not going to place students in that situation again.
Can you talk about how parents can give feedback on this? Because if they've been through it at their school, and they might have some great suggestions about how things can be improved at their school, what's the best way for them to communicate that to get it into the site plan?
So, right, I mean, I would say the best way is to deal with the site administration, working through the site council at the school sites, while, again, central office is working to support all of the sites. It's very difficult for us to collect information and then get it back out to the sites for something that's very specific to what somebody saw at their site. working with the administration is the best alternative through their site council.
So they can just contact the principal directly or any member of their site council to provide that feedback. Okay.
So I'm glad we're talking about this because I don't want the public to think that we haven't been compliant because our comprehensive school site plans are reviewed every year. We approve them in April. The challenge, as you said, was with the staffing changes over the summer. Those plans need to be updated as far as individual personnel that are on the I'll call it the crisis team. And over the years, the terminology for the plans or the name of the plans has changed. I have copies of the plan from 2003. I worked on plans as early as 1997 with other staff members. When we first started these plans, we weren't using computers as frequently as we do now, and the rule was you carried the card file out to the field so you could verify parents and their students. And so we have advanced greatly, and the use of Google Docs and other electronic means will certainly reunify families much quicker. I do still hope that we will maintain a certain level of confidentiality around the critical information that should not be available to the public because we need to be able to protect that information and how we are going to protect our students. There have been several recent articles in CSBA that are good summaries that might be informational to share with our families, and because they're a brief overview, and then we can just add district specifics to come or ask what's available at your school site. I do hope that parents will look at it more closely and appreciate it. To Mr. Lawrence's comment about the concern, the trauma that young people experience when they go through a drill is concerning, and I agree with that. But I also know that every time we get on an airplane, we practice a safety drill. And, yes, it doesn't happen as frequently, but I can remember when my 9-year-old daughter went into the duck and hold when we were in a car accident because of that training. So the training does, provide a sense of purpose during a drill. It's how we implement the drill, at what level. Because if we used to go through of course, duck and cover for earthquake. We used to go through atomic bomb drills.
Atomic bomb. Just get under that desk and that'll stop that radiation. Don't you worry.
Well, but for those of us who were raised in the Midwest for a certain period of our lives, it was also a tornado drill. So, it's, and those are probably more real than earthquake drills right now. But, so I think we should look to the experts around what might be an appropriate emergency drill, and maybe it has to be named correctly, because many of the procedures are the same for some of the drills. So,
yes. I remember the duck and covers, and we were afraid of Russians, and who knew how right we'd be in the long run.
I do want to share that back in 2005, we received a $92,000 grant to update all of the plans district-wide and do the district office emergency simulation drills. So it is a huge undertaking when we do it right, and it's going to take a lot of staff time, and I appreciate the effort and the commitment to do it. But I hope that we recognize it's not going to happen overnight.
And at the end of the day, it falls upon our staff to do the great job that they've been doing. And as I shared with Mrs. Durkee and promised her I would share tonight. The great philosopher Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face, and then you can react in different ways, some better than others. But so we appreciate the efforts of staff to do these things.
And I do appreciate that, actually, and I think a lot of the community doesn't know that the school safety plans for every school are already up on the Mount Diablo website. You just have to go to departments and then school support and then comprehensive school safety plans. And they do take out anything that's sensitive there, and you just go directly to your principal to get the full plan.
And for the adoption, they have to work with the police department and the mayors or city officials. And there are some folks that are volunteering with CERT that would like to be included on those plans because they will be relied upon by the community police departments to respond in certain situations, because some of our police departments don't have that many staff at any given time. So CERT will be called out to help.
Okay, good. Thank you very much for that discussion, and we are actually through our agenda, and so we are adjourned and have a couple signatures we need right here, so thank you.
Thank you.